Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope that you're doing well. We just got done with a lovely rain, and so there's a nice cool breeze going on, and so I'm really digging that. So I just wanted to remind you that my newsletters come out on the 15th of the month, and so that's tomorrow. And so tomorrow I'm posting my newsletter on my Patreon page. It's just patreon.com/Andarda. And amongst the astrology, land energies, and the what we're all experiencing within, I also do book and tarot reviews, and I'm actually going to be reviewing the latest Christopher Hughes book. It's called Caradwyn, Celtic Goddess of Inspiration, and so I'm going to be writing about that. And so if you are not already on my Patreon page, you can sign up, so that way you can access my newsletter tomorrow and see what all is coming to us, astrology wise and everything else. Okay, so it's been a bit of a week, hasn't it? It feels like it's a continuation of a lot of the energies from last time I was here. So Thursday, the 8th of July, we had the Death card. And this card represents endings, transformation, and transition from one phase to the next. And this was also, mind you, the dark moon. And so those energies on that Thursday, it's totally in sync with the dark moon in letting go, releasing anything that is no longer serving us. And that was last Thursday. And then Friday was the key. And this card represents access, discovery, and revealing that which is hidden. We have the power to open and close doors. And it was interesting that we had this on the new moon, was this energy of having those abilities to access that which we didn't think we were able to, as well as closing the doors that we need to close right now. Saturday was the Princess of Wands, and she represents, she's the messenger of good news, and she represents new learnings, travel, and creativity. And I just kept getting the word pilgrimage on Saturday, and that is a very sacred travel. It's not just going to a touristy place, it's actually going to a location that has a spiritual connection to you in some way. And so Saturday had very positive energies for pilgrimages. And Sunday was Bran, the raven, inverted. And this sacred bird represents, when it's inverted, it represents facing the destructive elements in our lives in order to heal and protect ourselves. The raven and the crow, they definitely are very significant birds in all throughout the world. And it's just interesting how we're having the raven coming up with all of the other ending cards that we've been having, because the raven is always associated with the different goddesses of war, that I talk a lot about in my war goddess class, and how to work with them. And so it was interesting that that was on Sunday. And then Monday was a pity party. It's the Grail 8. And this represents self-pity, dissatisfaction, and a need to look at your situation from a universal standpoint. So Monday definitely was a lot of people feeling down in the dumps, feeling dissatisfied with their lives, the things that they have, their path that they're on. And the thing with this card that I actually... when I get this card for readings for people, they're always on that verge of a new path. And so as much as this may feel like it's just total utter despair, especially when the card becomes inverted, that's when it's like, you know what, I am not happy with just the tangible physical realm. I know that there's more to it, and so therefore I'm going to seek out more spiritual meetings. And so whenever this card comes up, this always signifies to me that that person is on that verge of a new spiritual path. And then yesterday was creative expression. And this card represents the need to having an outlet of some sort of your deep emotions. And this could have been in the form of any type of art that you may do, any crafting. And this isn't anything that you have to show to other people. That's actually not the point of these different creations. And the same thing goes for writing. If you are, if you like to journal or something like that, this is a really important thing for us. As humans, to be able to express all of the feelings, the deep feels, right, that we've been having recently, in some form. Otherwise, it can turn to depression if we're not able to express ourselves in some way. And it doesn't mean that you have to show everybody in the world your artwork. It's just that releasing of that energy. Okay. And then today was the Two of Cups inverted. And this card represents, when it's inverted, it represents, challenges or arguments and or even breakups of romantic relationships, which I've been contacted that that's actually been the case today. But it could also be platonic friends that maybe it's a very close relationship. And so if it is a very close friendship, like you are, friend soulmates in some way or something like that, there is like some major rift or some major problem. And so with all of these different endings and emotions and stuff going on, what I really gained from this week is history. Okay. Back in April, I looked at my live video. I talked about the past, present, and future and how we sort of have to balance all of those. But this really feels like we are either ignoring our history or we are really falling into a dark space concerning our history. Okay. And this is both on an individual as well as a social level. And I'm going to be talking about this in my video for my patrons on how we can actually access and heal our histories. But just to give you, just to show a perspective. Okay. So I even wrote a book on the witchcraft trials. Looking at my book is the traditional holidays during the 15th through the 17th centuries in England. And so this really focused on the historical, socioeconomic, gendered actions that people would have on the different holidays, such as Beltane, Midsummer, things like that. But it's also how the witchcraft trials were interwoven and the fears, but the beliefs and magic. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that facing history, it often is very uncomfortable. It is something that we often do not necessarily, yay, let's look at how, history was actually negative in some way. It is that that's the only way that we're honestly going to be able to evolve as a species, as well as an individual in a family grouping, all of these different things, if we can't figure out and heal our histories. And so there's so many different things that keep on surfacing concerning history that make people uncomfortable. And that is okay. It's okay that it makes you uncomfortable. At the same time, you can't just pretend that it's not there. Okay. And I'm going to be talking about some different histories and stuff like that have surfaced recently in my video for my patrons. But the one thing I wanted to leave you on is if you have Netflix, I highly recommend this. It's just a 4-part series. It's called High on the Hog, and it is about my daughter and I love watching food shows, and we tend to watch them while we're eating our meals just because we're always hungry whenever we watch these shows. But this is specifically about how African American cuisine has been so prominent throughout the American culture. And there are so many things that I did not know about food, about the historical aspects of it all. And so I would highly recommend you all to watch it. It is sometimes it's uncomfortable in some spaces, okay? Especially if that is not part of your culture, but at the same time, that is something that we really need to be exploring more, okay? So, let's see if that was everything. Personal and social, need to examine our histories. And so, you know, history, difficult. At the same time, it's also necessary, because if we do not learn from history, what happens? We tend to repeat it, right? And so that's why we need to look at different historical aspects of ourselves, of our society, of our families, of all of these things. And I'm going to be talking a lot about this in my video for my patrons. Okay. So in the meantime, you know, just keep on with the self-reflection on the deep work that seems to be coming about for everybody, and unlocking that key. That's another aspect. That's part of how the key was actually part of what tuned me into that history, is that the key is accessing things that are hidden to us or not known to us, or things that we do not realize. And another show that's really actually cool is the Lock and Key on Netflix. And that is a literal lock and key, but it's also magical, and it's also about looking at the histories that are not that great, but needing to do that in order to be able to fix what is going on right now. Okay. So I hope that you all are doing well. And like I said, if you have not signed up for my Patreon page yet, you can do so to get my newsletter tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about the different planets and retrograde and such. And so it's patreon.com/Andarta. So I hope you all have a good rest of your week, and I will see you next Wednesday. All right. Bye-bye.